Listen up. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to the podcast participants, and not to any participant's employer, organization, committee, or other group or individual. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. You know, for fun. So lighten up and enjoy. Oh my, Sawtooth Frank, you're all by your lonesome again. Hey everybody, this is just me, Sawtooth, your old pal, doing another Absolute Zero edition of the Soft Serve podcast. This is the second one. The second one where I kind of do my own thing alone while Stomping Jen is off doing other stuff and having fun. And she is off having fun, rest assured. It's just me sitting here alone in the podcast studio all by myself. So, without further ado, let's jump into it.
The Soft Serve Podcast.
You're a loser, a scumbag, lower than scum. You are a absolute zero. Absolute zero. Lower than scum. A scumbag. Absolute zero.
All right. Listen to that beat.
A scumbag.
Absolute Zero. Yeah, lower than scum. A scumbag.
Absolute zero.
Absolute Zero. Oh yeah. Oh baby, lower than scum.
Lower than scum.
A scumbag.
A scumbag.
Absolute Zero. Alright, yeah. Well, it's your old buddy Sawtooth. All by my lonesome. Believe it or not, this is my third fucking attempt at recording this podcast episode. I keep screwing shit up. Well, I feel like I'm screwing shit up, right? So the first attempt at this, I was insisting that it was the day before Thanksgiving. But it's not. That is tomorrow when I'm recording this. I'm recording this on Tuesday night, November 25th, 2025, so I can release it to you tomorrow, which is, in fact, the day before Thanksgiving. But I'm not recording this shit the day before Thanksgiving. I cannot let that error stand. You demand more of me. I know that, my dear listeners. You demand so much more of me, and I'm here to give you all of me, all that you demand of me. Quite frankly, I don't know if I have anything to give you, but let's see if I do. Okay, let's jump into this. Now, I want to address something here. If you're paying attention, if you're a fan of the show, which I don't think there are many left, honestly, after 2 years of not regularly publishing podcast episodes, the listenership has dropped off a little bit. So we're kind of back to square one. You know, kind of back to early days where we were first building an audience. I don't know who's left. Maybe it's all bots. Maybe there's nobody left. Well, be that as it may, I had to write new intro music for the Absolute Zero version of the podcast because the song that I originally produced for this version of the show used a free AI music creation tool. I'm not going to name that company, but I discovered recently, due to another situation, which I'll tell you about in a second, that when you use the free version of the AI song creation tool, that company owns your music. And I couldn't have that. And I have been particularly sensitive to copyright issues as of late because YouTube has flagged a bunch of my shows as being in violation of copyright. Now, normally, Stomping Jen and I are very, very careful about not playing music on the podcast and trying to avoid copyright issues. But recently, within the last couple of months, YouTube has begun flagging some of our older episodes of the Soft Serve podcast. Now, the reason for this is that back in 2020, right after we started the podcast, it was like a year and a half after we started the podcast. I don't know, maybe 2 years or so, around 2020. I think we started this in 2018. It became evident to me that I wanted to redo the Soft Serve podcast theme music because it used a version of the ice cream truck jingle called Turkey in the Straw, which, if you're a student of history and racism in this country, is a song that has problematic and racist origins. That's Turkey in the Straw. So around 2020, there was a lot of sensitivity about racism happening in our country. And I think if you remember, George Floyd, who was murdered by a bunch of cops, was one of the driving and inspiring forces around this sort of renewed awareness in 2020 about racism. So, in response to that, the musical mastermind behind the Wu-Tang Clan, an artist known as RZA, the RZA, produced a new version of ice cream truck music, a new ice cream truck jingle for ice cream trucks to use. The idea being he wanted to replace the problematic and racist Turkey in the Straw with a more contemporary and less problematic jingle. Okay, so when RZA released the new ice cream truck jingle, he did so sort of saying that it was free for anyone to use. So I was like, oh, awesome. I'm going to incorporate this into the Soft Serve podcast theme song. So I redid the Soft Serve podcast theme song, and I used the RZA's ice cream truck jingle. Okay, so now I think mostly due to fucking AI and YouTube's implementation of AI on its fucking system, it's flagging older episodes of the podcast as being potential copyright violations because I'm using the RZA's music. Okay, so this really bothered me. So I did some investigating and found the RZA's publishing company that owns the rights to RZA's updated ice cream jingle. And I wrote to them. I wrote to them, to whom it may concern. I'm I'm really impressed by what Rizzo was trying to accomplish with the new ice cream jingle. Is it okay for me to use in a creative project? Now, a couple days went by. I didn't get a response. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to hear back. Then I got a reply in my email inbox. It was a couple of words. And it said this: it was given to the world. Oh, okay. So I guess I can use it. So I'm going to take that as Rizza's blessing. And I don't know if he wrote that email or not. The Rizza is a man of few and profound words, so I'm hoping it was him. But I don't know if he did or not, and I'm not claiming he did. Let's be really clear here. But I was delighted to get that response from the music publishing company. So, when I first saw those copyright strikes, I kind of panicked and re-edited the Soft Serve podcast intro to include the old racist version of the jingle, the original one. But I'm not going to use that. And honestly, I still don't ever plan on monetizing this podcast. I mean, we've lost most of our listeners. So, yeah, no, that's not going to ever happen. And if I ever do want to do a monetized podcast, I'm probably going to scrap everything and start all over again and do something completely new and fresh. Okay? So, that's why you're hearing new Absolute Zero theme music for this second episode of the Soft Serve podcast, Absolute Zero Edition, because I was freaking out about copyright stuff and decided I can't have this AI song generating company own my music. Well, I guess it's their music because their AI made it, but you know what I mean. Own the music in my podcast. I can't have that. I need a clean break. Anyways, so here we are. Me alone with you doing the show. So this is, like I said, this is our second episode of Just Me, No Stomping Jen. And, there's some things I'm contemplating going forward. This episode was almost a video podcast. I've been playing around with a piece of software called OBS, Open Broadcasting Software, and teaching myself how to do video podcasts. I am almost there, and were it not for a scheduling snafu, I think I would have attempted to record this episode as a video podcast. So I think there will be one coming in the near future. In addition, I'm also playing around with the idea of live streaming an episode or 2 or 3 or all of these going forward. I don't know. I haven't decided yet if I want to do that. But we'll see. So anyways, those are some things that might be coming down the line. And I might do both of those things with Stomping Jen. So video podcast with Stomping Jen and or live streaming with Stomping Jen. I know you all are really here for Stomping Jen and love Stomping Jen. And that's what you want. So I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you Stomping Jen. You're going to get so much Stomping Jen. So much of her. Honestly, you're going to get so much of Stomping Jen, you're going to be sick of her. I'm just kidding. Nobody could possibly be sick of Stomping Jen. Okay. Let's get into this episode here. I've wasted enough time. I have sort of said that these are going to be shorter episodes, but I'm blabbing. I'm going on and blabbing. So, I've written another essay. So what did I want to say to you all about this? Yeah, so so I fucking tried dictating my notes about what I wanted to say about the essay when I was at the gym, and none of this fucking shit came out. I can't even make sense of it. Let me get my piece of paper here. So, okay, I started writing an essay about death. DEATH, death, right? Like what happens when you are no longer alive. And then last week, I was in Northampton walking down the street and something happened to me that I'm going to tell you about. That sort of totally changed the direction of this essay. And it went a place that I really didn't think it went. And I ended up writing, oh my God, somewhere around like 10 to 15 pages. I don't know how long this is going to take me to read, honestly. But one of the things I realized in writing this is that it's a little bit corny and sentimental. Right? That's how I write, though. And this is something, maybe I'm not a good writer, right? But I think my writing has always tended towards the melodramatic, like I said before, the corny, the sentimental, the obvious. I'm not a clever writer. I'm not clever. Cleverness isn't my thing, in case you haven't noticed yet in listening to the podcast. I leave clever to other people. Other people do clever better than me. So I'm not clever. So anyways, I wrote this long essay that went, honestly, in directions I did not anticipate when I started writing about death. Okay? So I named this particular essay, and it will end up being the title of the podcast episode, A Coin Out of Time. Now, as I read, so I want to tell you something. When I recorded the last episode of the podcast, I kept making mistakes when I was reading and having to start over the recording and trying to get it perfect. I am not even going to try to do that this time. Okay? I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to stumble. I'm going to fumble. I probably will mispronounce things. There's words in here that I wrote that I can barely pronounce. But I'm going to try, okay? I'm going to do my best to try. I'm not going to start over. I'm not going to edit this. You're going to get what I wanted to say to you, okay? Raw. It's going to be raw. Okay? Gordon Ramsay would hate this. It's going to be so raw. That's how raw it's going to be. Okay? He's going to say, "What are you, an idiot sandwich?" All right. I think if Gordon Ramsay asked me if I was an idiot sandwich, I would have to say yes, right? You don't argue with Gordon Ramsay. That's one thing I've learned. Okay. I've learned from watching Gordon Ramsay on TV. I've never met Gordon Ramsay or had a conversation with Gordon Ramsay. So I've never learned anything from him directly or in person. But, I've watched enough of him on TV where I feel like at least I know the character of Gordon Ramsay and what he would say to me. And he would say, "You're an idiot sandwich. It's raw." Okay. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to read to you A Coin Out of Time. Okay? All right. Here we go. I've been thinking about death a lot lately. My death specifically. How I'm going to die. When I'm going to die. Who will be with me? Will I be alone? Lately, I've had this feeling like I am careening towards death. That time is accelerating. According to Psychology Today, that's a magazine, and website. It's common for people to feel like time is moving faster as we age. There are lots of reasons for this, and they include the phenomenon of routine, the proportionality of time, and certain biological factors. As we get older, we develop more routines in our lives, making our days, weeks, and months blend together. A life filled with novel experiences, like those in childhood, is easier to segment and feels longer in retrospect. With each passing day, month, and year that we are alive, the proportionality of our experience of time changes. As we age, each year makes up a smaller fraction of our total life as we age. For a 10-year-old, 1 year is 10% of their life. But for a 51-year-old like me, a year is only 2%. This mathematical reality contributes to a feeling that time is passing more quickly when we are older. There are other reasons that time feels like it's moving faster as we age. Our brain's ability to process new information slows with age. Younger brains are faster at creating mental images or frames, making time seem to pass more slowly. As our neuronal pathways degrade with age, the brain's ability to process the world in detail can slow and decrease. So slower brain activity means less frequent eye movements, means less new information is taken in per second, which makes time feel shorter. Also, a decline in dopamine levels as we age affects attention and reward processing. This can lead to less focus on the present moment, causing time to pass unnoticed. Damn, I'm having flashbacks to my years as a medical writer. Okay, so it's totally normal actually, that time feels faster as we age. But this does not explain my preoccupation with my future death. Again, how I'm going to die, when I'm going to die, who will be with me, am I going to be alone? Sometimes I get the sensation that I'm actually dying now. And this current moment is just my brain doing a whole life flashing before my eyes type of thing. Of course, I know that this is not actually the case, but then again, how can I really be sure? Do our dying brains know they're dying? Do our final thoughts ring out across space and time, echoing across the universe for eternity? We can't ask dead people what they have experienced as they are dying. So these are questions that bedevil me. Some physicists believe that our experience of time being linear is an illusion, a construct of the brain. Instead of events happening one after another as we think and perceive them, everything that has ever happened, is happening, or will happen exists in a cosmic soup of simultaneousness. In other words, everything is happening everywhere all at once. Our meatbag bodies and brains just can't experience it this way. We are biologically incapable of experiencing time as it actually exists. So what does this mean? It means maybe I am being conceived now. Ew, I don't want to think about that. Born now. living now. And yes, dying now. I am, in fact, on my deathbed right now. And so are you. It's enough to twist your fucking brain into knots. And I've done too much twisting of my brain into fucking knots thinking about this. Anyway, this is what I was thinking about as I was waiting for a crosswalk light on Main Street in Northampton, Massachusetts, the other evening when 3 women approached me. They looked to be in their late teens or early 20s. I can't tell anymore. I wasn't wearing my glasses, and I'm at that age where everybody looks like they're in their 20s to me. It was cold. They were all bundled up in winter coats and hats. One of the women, who had long brown braids hanging down from her hat, held up a silver coin. "Can I give you a gift?" she said to me. I saw the coin was covered with writing, too small for me to read without my glasses, which I left in the car. "What does it say?" I said. The women seemed surprised that I didn't say no or just outright tell them to fuck off. Braids, clearly the point person for her triad, didn't hesitate. "One side has the 10 Commandments. The other side is a message," she said, smiling at me. "I know the 10 Commandments," I said, "so I think I'm good with that. Can you read me the other side? I don't have my glasses, so I can't read anything." So Braids read the message. "You have to face a holy God on Judgment Day. He sees lust as adultery and hatred as murder. Will you be guilty? Jesus took your punishment on the cross and rose again, defeating death to save you from hell. Repent and trust in him today." I wasn't surprised to hear this. After all, the other side of the coin was the 10 Commandments. Braids looked at me, waiting for my response. I could see her bracing for a rejection, argument, or insult. "Thanks for reading that to me," I said. "I accept your gift." I took the coin from Braids and placed it in my jacket pocket. The 3 women told me I was welcome. We went our separate ways. As Braids and her companions drifted off in the other direction, I could hear them talking and laughing. Again, they seemed surprised and delighted that I took the coin. Truth is, I was happy to take the coin. 30 years ago, I probably would have refused or argued with the women about organized religion and their idea of a Christian God. Now, what I think about these things, or anything really, doesn't matter so much to me. There is kindness in accepting what another is offering. In searching for other people's reflections about this, I came across a quote from author Alexander McCall Smith's novel, Love Over Scotland. I have never heard of this guy before. I just found this quote on the internet, okay? So I don't know if he's particularly problematic in some way, but here's the quote. Alexander McCall Smith's novel, Love Over Scotland. "Gracious acceptance is an art which most never bother to cultivate. We think that we have to learn how to give, but we forget about accepting things, which can be much harder than giving. Accepting another person's gift is allowing him to express his feelings for you. What feelings were these young women trying to express for me with their coin? I didn't ask them, so I can't really know. Yes, there's a lot of devils in the godly details of the coin's 10 Commandments and message about repenting. But I think, from their perspective, they were trying to say to me, you are loved. I was also struck that these 3 women and their coin found me at the very moment I was grappling with the nature of time, life, and death, wondering to myself, what if I'm actually dying right now? You may think it's a coincidence, and maybe you're right. The only thing I've become more certain of with each passing day is how little I understand, and how little it matters that I understand anything at all. What if encountering the 3 women in their coin wasn't a coincidence? If time is not linear as we think most of us perceive it, and everything does happen everywhere all at once, maybe I needed or will need to receive this message. Not the 10 Commandments or the Jesus stuff. The real message as I understand it. The real message under it all. You are loved. I'm not claiming or insinuating that I experienced some sort of religious love miracle on Northampton's Main Street. I don't know what I'd do if an entity not of this mortal earth appeared in front of me. I might shank an angel or take a bite out of its divine throat in surprise or self-defense. I do know that as a child, I didn't hear, you are loved, enough. Back then, in my youth, if there even is a back then, considering time might not be linear, I thought I was unlovable and hated myself. This is not an easy thing to say to you, but it's the truth. One of my core childhood memories is of my mother tucking me in bed one night when I was very little, maybe 4 or 5. After getting under the sheets, she turned and started to walk out of the bedroom without saying, I love you. This was different. Every night up until that night, she would tell me she loved me. After she said it, I would say it back. This was our custom. This is how bedtime was supposed to happen. I was very upset by this omission. I called out to her to come back and redo the tuck-in, to say the words, I love you. My mother stopped. A round and lumpy silhouette in my bedroom doorway, backlit by the yellow incandescent hallway light. You're too old for all of that now, she said, and closed the bedroom door. Too old to be loved? Or maybe it was something about me, something I could not see that now made me unworthy of my mother's love. Of course, at the time, at 4 or 5 years of age, I did not have these exact thoughts. But I'm quite sure that when she shut my bedroom door to leave me in the literal dark, a figurative darkness flooded my being. I was unlovable. I suspect my mother, who died in 2005, had no idea how disturbing her words were, and how deeply troubled I would become as a result. To make a long story short, I would not tell another person I loved them, or genuinely feel loved, for another 19 years, until I met Stomping Jen. You can ask Jen about this, if she remembers. She doesn't have the best memory for these types of things, but I literally could not say the words, I love you. She had to coach me through it, one word at a time, like reciting a foreign language for the first time. For what it's worth, and I don't want to make this all about my mother, I can't recall my father ever saying the words, "I love you," to me. Not one time. Ever. And you have to think about the kind of impact that has on a child. As a sad coda, when he was dying a few years ago, I was sitting with him in his living room in his home near Boston, where we had set him up for hospice. He was talking to my sister and I about the meaning of life and just generally reflecting. After telling us that he hoped he had done more good than bad in his 83 years, he said, "Alcohol has been my only source of comfort." He died less than 12 hours later, right after my brother arrived from the West Coast. At that moment, my father's statement about alcohol being his only source of comfort in life struck me as being amusing and totally in character for him. Now, with some distance, it just makes me sad. Did he love his family? Did he feel loved? I'll never know. I still struggle with fully accepting and loving myself, and expressing love for others, although I've made progress thanks to decades of therapy. Not loving yourself, and worse, hating yourself because you feel like nobody can really love you and you can't love others, is like being an alcoholic or any other kind of addict. Yes, you can stop and change your behavior, but you're in recovery for the rest of your life. Back to the idea of time. I hope there is no linear time, but I am not sure. I wish with all of my being that the silver coin I accepted as a gift from the 3 young women I do not know could find me in all times and places in the great cosmic soup of simultaneousness. In the past, as a child, when I needed to hear "you are loved," after people stopped telling me they loved me, or never telling me they loved me, leaving me to wonder why and hating myself. In the now, to remind me that I am loved and love others. At the end, when it's time to die and leave this place, and knowing I have been loved and I am loved makes departing easier. Every one of us has to go just as we arrived, just as we existed for a time within time. At the beginning, middle, and end of it all, whatever and whenever time is, however it comes to you, in the form of a gift from a stranger or ghosts on Christmas Eve, I hope you know that you are worth loving and can love others. Keep this secured in your being, tucked away safe and warm, like a coin nestled deep down in your jacket pocket. Okay, there you have it. That is my essay. A coin out of time. Corny and sentimental, just like I promised. Okay, now, let me know what you think of that little reflection, okay? Help me. Help me. Love me. Please. Leave a comment on Facebook or Instagram, or even send me a DM. I'm actually, all jokes aside, really interested what you thought of that. And I would love to hear from anyone who heard my words and wants to tell me something about them. Let's see. As we sort of slowly begin to spin this thing back up, you can follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram. You can listen to us on Podbean or the podcasting app that you prefer. Download our episodes. That helps me know that people are listening. And that's it, I think. So, I think I fulfilled my promise of delivering a shorter episode. It's only 41 minutes. I could keep talking. I could tell you about things that I'm watching, things I'm listening to, things I'm reading. Yes, I still read. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep my promise and keep these episodes shorter and punchier, because now I got to go edit this thing and release it in the morning. Okay. Well, I am reminded I do have a catchphrase that I use to sign off with. And it is, bye now.
This world of ours, ever growing smaller, must avoid becoming a community of dreadful fear and hate. Those who have freedom will understand also its heavy responsibility. That all who are insensitive to the needs of others will learn charity, and that the sources, scourges of poverty, disease, and ignorance will be made disappear from the earth. And that in the goodness of time, all peoples will come to live together in a peace guaranteed by the binding force of mutual respect and love. I shall never cease to do what little I can to help the world advance along that road.